All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live discussion on Love is Blind, Season 4, Episodes 6 through 8. So, we have some very special guests. So, I want y'all to be on your best behavior. Don't be embarrassing me in front of my guests today, okay? We're going to keep it cute for them. All right. So, first up, yes, that is Real James' journey. Okay, we got Real James who gives his thoughtful reviews. Just made my heart smile when he was into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avatar, The Last Airbender over the pandemic. I'm so happy to welcome Real James because I've been watching his content. I love his vibe. I love his style. Welcome to our live chat. Hi, James.
Thank you so much, Shonda. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to chat Love is Blind with you. And I also didn't know you were as big an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan because I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I only know like 2 or 3 people who do too. So it's kind of sad.
It's okay though, because we're gonna be a small group of people together. Okay, we're gonna lift each other up because that's all that matters.
Let's go. Let's go. I love it.
Also, too, I have another special guest. I have Kristen Maldonado, who literally lets me harass her every single day over the phone. She is the nicest person I know, the bubbliest person I know, and she does the most amazing shorts and interviews. And so I want to welcome Kristen Maldonado of Pop Culture Planet. Welcome.
Hi, girl. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm excited, y'all. Do this. All right, so we're going to be talking about the most toxic season of Love is Blind yet. We're talking Love is Blind Season 4. If you have not watched episodes 6 through 8, pause, go watch it, because y'all knew we was doing this last. I don't know why you're not caught up. Actually, I'm gonna stop because Rodney said that she didn't watch episode 8, so I don't want her to come for me thinking I was come for her. I love you, girl. So if you haven't watched, just put some earmuffs on, okay? We'll try to, if we get to episode 8 of Rodney, then we'll put earmuffs for you. Be like, earmuffs, don't say this. For the format of today's live, we're just gonna go by couples because there's just always so much chaotic mess happening every episode. So we're gonna start with like our least toxic couple, the couple that just makes you want to believe in love. Like I'm gonna say my press say, Lord, please give me what Brett and Tiffany have. That's just what I want right now in Jesus' name, amen. So let's talk about Brett and Tiffany. Like the only people I feel like are gonna get married this season. So what are your thoughts about them for these episodes? And James, I will kick it off to you.
Yeah, it's true. I actually don't think they're the only ones that will get married as well. I just don't see how you can't look at them and tell yourself, man, I love them. You know, some people in my comments were coming from me. They're like, actually, I don't think Tiffany's right for Brett. I'm like, how? How do you see that? They love each other. They hang out. You can tell that they have genuine conversations. I will say the one thing, and I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, the one thing that I don't like that Tiffany does when she speaks with Brett is call him bougie Brett. And she brings it up a little bit every now and then. And he kind of like laughs it off, but it's never anything too serious, at least on the surface. I do think it bothers him though, Loki.
Yeah, I did think that was a little bit disrespectful. But Kristen, give us your quick thoughts on Brett and Tiffany. We're gonna talk about that bougie Brett nickname.
I love Tiffany and Brett. Like you guys said, I feel like they're the couple that can go the distance. I love that they're a little bit of an older couple, so they know what they're looking for. They've been through the dating pool already, and you kind of know when you know. And I feel like when I watch them, like I just see it. And I also love that in this batch of episodes, they're the ones talking about real life things. They're talking about money and budgets and things that when you're in a relationship out in the real world, you're going to have to deal with. And I feel like I don't really see a lot of the other couples talking about that stuff. So I don't know. I see them going the distance and already thinking about the future in ways that are going to be really important for them outside of the show. So I love them.
Rodney says they're going to run that bougie Brett till the wheels fall off. They sure are. Like, I mean, when I watched the conversation when Brett and Tiffany are kind of talking about finances, you can even tell when she went to Brett's apartment, she was just like, "Oh, Brett got all this high tech stuff," and
that's nice.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, that's okay. That's how I live. I mean, if you work hard, you spend your money. Like you can't take your money with you when you die. So, how did you feel about the conversation that they had? Because it kind of felt like to me that Tiffany kind of came off judgmental, and it came off in a way. I do think that it's an important conversation, but I think that she wasn't phrasing the conversation in a way for us to have like an open discussion on how we want to handle finances. It was more like she kind of made the judgment, like it gave me you're spending beyond your means. that's what it was giving me. Like, are you sure you can afford to like spend money on these things? And I don't know, what were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, they were alluding to that, and I think it's okay to have those conversations and then maybe see where you're spending too much, or maybe you can afford to spend a little bit more. But it sounded like Tiffany, and the way that they were cutting it together is like, oh, every time she would bring up his spending habits, it would cut to the insane amount of shoes that he has. He has PS5, he's got a big TV, he's got this like cool, was it like a fountain, you guys? I can't remember. It's like this layered fountain or something in his house, but like everything he's got, it seems like he's been able to afford it. It's not like he's stretching beyond his means. And he even brought it up too. He's like, listen, I work hard and I spend it kind of like I earn it, but not in a terrible way. Like you can definitely tell he lives in a more affluent lifestyle than Tiffany. I just agree with you, Sharonda. I almost don't want, my partner ever in the future to be like, $1,000 on suitcases. Like, no, that's not going to work. You need to spend less. It's like, I will never tell you how to spend your money. So unless it's crazy, but yeah, that's what it was giving.
But then she made that comment though, because she was like, well, I don't want anyone to tell me how to spend my money. So sis, why are you doing it to your fiance right now? That it makes sense to me.
Maybe she was projecting maybe some of her own insecurities of not being in the same place financially that maybe he's at. But like you said, with the $1,000 suitcase, you want a cheap suitcase that's going to break and you have to spend $1,000 over time trying to replace them, or you get a nice one and you got your nice stuff and you're done and it lasts for years, So I think the way that he kind of described it made it sound like, he spends his money on nice things that will last. What's wrong with that?
And she blocking her own blessings. Because, baby, if my man is spending $1,200 on some luggage, then, girl,
we can spend on you.
Presents, okay? It's like, are you serious right now? And I probably would have been petty and bought something real cheap for a gift. You talk about don't spend my money. This is how it affects you when you make those decisions, okay? Cheeto Dust says, wait, the Cheeto Dust took me by surprise. I'm sorry. When he said they could move to a larger unit, that's the type of man I need. Now, when he was like, but I was like, now, Brett, what made you think that any of her stuff was gonna fit to your apartment? Like, I'm just really confused. And I guess James, as a man, do y'all just all have like small closets? Because I feel like every man, like every place that we went to, the guys, they just had small closet spaces. That's just a man thing. Do y'all just not have a lot of clothes?
Yeah, it's not that we don't have a lot of clothes. We have a decent amount of clothes. It's just that the closets, we always look at that as like the least important like thing in a room. We want to make sure we have bigger TVs. We want to make sure we have like more a bigger bed, something like that. I never look at a closet and say like, oh man, this is a beautiful closet. Like I'm always just looking to maybe just conserve some space, but you'll be proud of me though. One of my closets, because I have two like half closets that make like one big full one. The one on the left, the actual hangers, like I guess they're too heavy. So it's starting to like, kind of break a little bit. So your boy's got enough shirts. I guess I should probably stop buying more.
I mean, Kristen, you're married. Like, how was it actually having to merge two households together?
I mean, we definitely paid attention to closets. I really related to Tiffany and Brett in terms of, I think we're a little bit of a bougie couple at times. And, we want, the nice big closet. We both got a lot of clothes and, want to buy nice things. So, I was like, bougie Brett, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. But merging stuff, you're gonna need more space. You're gonna need big closets, and yeah.
Okay. Cheetah says, I think he lives within his means. There's nothing wrong with spoiling yourself.
100%.
KO says, I think that Brett is living a lifestyle that Tiffany isn't used to. Yeah, most probably so. Okay, Iyanji says, y'all, he works at Nike. I'm sure he got it. He do got it. He like engineering, right?
Yeah. And wasn't it that he started out like struggling and kind of worked his way up to Nike? So he knows what it's like to maybe not have certain things. And now if you can have nice things, have the nice things. Take them while you can.
Okay, treat yourself. Yeah. I'm just saying. Yolanda says that might be investment luggage. Okay. Nicole thinks that Tiffany's used to dealing with men who she may have had to save. She totally missed the comment where he's a 2 to 3 bedroom spot for them to be comfortable. Okay. Is somebody in here work for Nike? Y'all want to give me a job? Yeah, we're just
Well, if you're working at the Nike outlet store, you still got a little ways to go.
I'm just saying. I just, maybe y'all know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, but weight luggage is expensive.
Yes, it's very expensive, y'all. I know because my girlfriend, I believe she purchased an away luggage in the past. It's expensive. It's like almost 800, maybe a little bit less. But that was a smaller luggage. The bigger ones and the sets, expensive.
Okay, because I was looking at Ramoa. They like one luggage is like 1,200. So I was just like, look, this levels to this.
That is a lot, though.
I go to TJ Maxx and just find me the little Samsonite that's like half the price. That's just how I do it. But yeah, so that would have been a Tiffany. She's probably like, this is noise. It was. I was like, come on, y'all.
He was organized, clean, got nice stuff.
Yes.
I'm
Kristen,
saying.
much better than Kwame's apartment. So.
Oh, Kwame. I just be like, y'all know y'all can be on TV. Why do you could have texted the maid, hired a maid? Like, can someone come clean my place real quick before these cameras get here? I just don't understand. But I mean, while you bring up Kwame, let's go ahead and talk about Kwame. And
Shonda. Shonda.
When I see Kwame, I just feel like Chelsea's always holding him hostage. Like, I truly feel like he's being held against his will. And I just don't understand it. Some in my spirit, the whole time I watch, I just be like, there's no way that Kwame is marrying her, especially since he's still in love with Micah. But Kristen, give me your quick thoughts on how do you feel about Kwame and Chelsea as a couple as right now?
I mean, exactly what you just said. It feels like he's doing all this compromising because he's not saying what he really wants. Like, just speak up, and maybe you'll have like more. It seems like she's kind of leading him everywhere and he's just following along on the journey. And then maybe he doesn't even want to do certain things, but he's just like, well, I have to compromise, right? I have to compromise to make this work. This is a chance to find love, but not a chance to, just decide like to go silent and not say what you really want. How are you gonna, know you're doing the right thing then? And the whole stuff with Micah, like, I don't know what was going on there, but it just seems like, do you really want to be with Chelsea? Or is she just telling you, I'm in charge, let's go.
Micah don't want Kwame or Paul. How about you, James?
You don't even think she wants Paul? Interesting.
I think she would be on TV right now.
Yeah. Well, to the point about Kwame compromising, he's giving these verbal cues in this week's set of episodes where every time he says it, I'm like, ooh, did Chelsea not pick up on that? Or maybe because she's living in her own bubble. Yes. That's why she's not. Remember when they went to the mixer towards the end of episode 8? She'd said to Kwame, she said something along the lines of, I'm so glad you wore my favorite colored shirt. And then he says, well, I'm glad you got what you wanted. But he didn't say it like he was genuinely happy about it. He's like, I'm glad you got what you wanted. I'm like, Chelsea, hello. Are you not hearing this? He's been telling you this whole time that he doesn't want to compromise as much, or you can compromise more.
She don't listen. And there's two things that I do want to bring up where we delve deeper into them, because someone did post a video that showcased, and I'm trying to find the comment. So someone did show a video where they saw that Kwame was on Married at First Sight. Now Married at First Sight and what is it? Love is Blind are both kind of produced by the same company, Kinetic. I think that's the
Married at First Sight. Like a guest, or like a guest on it, or like he was actually like going to get married?
I think he was trying to like be like one of the chosen. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know what are your thoughts on that?
That just sounds like maybe looking for clout, maybe desperate to find love. I don't know. I'm surprised.
That's what the producers would tell you, Kristen.
I'm surprised then if he's been on that and now this, that that his mom has such a problem.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because a lot of people don't think that it was his mom that was on the phone because we never heard her talk. So James, he wasn't on the phone.
Yeah, so it's funny because at first I bought it. I'm like, oh, he was on the phone with his mom, but I'm like, in the past, we've heard, contestants have these conversations and stuff over the phone. Why did they cut away from it? Maybe it really was that bad. But I had people tell me, go back and watch it again. Like, it doesn't feel like he even had that conversation, and he's trying to possibly use that down the line to get out of the relationship or the engagement. And I kind of thought about it, and it is true. It almost feels like he's saving up a ton of receipts and waiting for his out. It's coming. I'm sure it'll happen before the altar, but I don't think he had that conversation.
Oh, wow. Before the altar? We're not even going to make it to the altar?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Man. All right. Dang. I mean, okay. Look, I mean, there's...
Sean.
I thought I was hard on people, okay? But y'all, okay, not this man that made it this. Okay, y'all. I mean, what did you think about when they went to his apartment, and Deja says them dead plants in Kwame's apartment is a representation of their future, dead on arrival. So what were your thoughts? Like, just her going, when she saw his place, but also too, it's clear that Kwame doesn't want to move to Seattle. It's clear that he wants to stay in Portland, that his friends are there. But he works from home. So I was just like, sir, you really you really don't have any reasons on why you need to be here. But why do you feel like Chelsea just ignores everything that he's saying?
It seems like she's living in like a happiness bubble of like, I found my person. I've never been so attracted to somebody like this, that, maybe all the red flags are kind of going out the window, because it's like, oh, the experiment worked, and, we can just figure things out to go along with what I want. And, we'll just move forward from there. That's kind of what it feels like, because he has kind of hinted at things that he wants. And I don't think he's like distinctively like said like, listen, I don't want to do this. And maybe he's someone that's easy to push into what she wants him to do. Maybe he gives in so easily that she's just like, well, I'll just make him come to where I want us to live. I'll just make him do, whatever. That's kind of what it seems like.
How about you, James?
So the empath in me says, you know what? This guy, I can imagine at the pace of this experiment, getting out of the pods, going to Mexico, and then getting back into real life, it would be hard to uproot your entire life. He seems comfortable in Portland, but then the realist in me is like, mentally, you should have prepared for this way ahead of the show when they cast you, and knowing that you're possibly going to have to leave Portland. It wasn't a secret. The only thing is, I think, again, he's not willing to speak up enough about how he's compromising more. I started watching next week's episode, so I won't talk about that. But what I will say is that he is someone who seems like he has a lot to say in the one-on-one off-camera interviews, and he doesn't have a lot to say to her. It's, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Oh, yeah, anything for you. It's like, dude, you have no one to blame now but yourself. You should have these conversations.
Yeah. Like, and, maybe he's not ready to really settle down. Maybe there's like a fear there of just like, if you move forward with all this stuff, you're gonna be, exactly.
I know, I read that
too. To get married, settle down, have kids, all this stuff. Maybe that's gonna be too much for him. Maybe he has a certain lifestyle. He's not ready for that yet, but is afraid to tell her.
I didn't, I actually didn't take that conversation that way when he was telling her about it, because I actually felt like he was giving valid points. Because he's like, girl, you work 7 to 7 now. I already got to take care of your damn dog all day. Like, I just be sitting here with Rocky by myself. Like, why am I taking care of your dog? And then you going to add a baby to that in the first place? Like, you're not even here to watch your own dog, but you want to have a child, and you think that you're going to live the same lifestyle. You're going to work those same hours. And then I'm here by myself with no support system. So is your family going to be sitting here taking care of kids all day? And also too, like, girl, I just met you 2 weeks ago. Why are we talking about kids? Can we get to I do? I never understand when people have those conversations. Like, do you even know I'm gonna marry you? Why are you sitting up here talking about like, why don't you want kids? Don't you want to just enjoy being married? Like, when I get married, I'm knocking on can't have kids door, but that's okay, because when I get married, I want to enjoy my husband. I want to like just have time with us, because once these little kids come, they ain't never going nowhere. So I just felt like when he was asking those questions, it was valid. And I don't think that Chelsea's actually put deep thought into what it actually takes to raise kids. And is she willing to, put those long hours on pause or trying to make sure? Because I've had friends who have literally moved to another state because they needed support systems and changed their jobs because it just wasn't conducive to actually being married and raising kids at the same time. So I was okay with it. I still don't think he liked her, but I was okay with the line of questioning that he did for her.
It's interesting to hear like the other perspective, because I guess I'm thinking like, you're going on this show to find love, to get married, to have a family, to, so you would think like, honestly, that they're all having these conversations about kids and all this stuff in the pods. And so sometimes when they're having these conversations outside the pods, I'm like, you didn't discuss if you wanted this, you weren't on the same page. Like, what are you guys talking about? I don't know, because the whole point is
too busy singing.
He's too busy singing.
He was too busy being in love with Micah. That's what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He don't like that girl. He don't like her. You think her time? What was the timeline that she said?
She wanted like 4 kids, right, or something like that, right?
Yeah,
in 4 years, or something, like she wanted multiple kids in 4 years, or something like that.
4 kids.
Can't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was because he said he countered that. He said in the first like 3 to 4 years, I want to like enjoy my wife, I want to enjoy our marriage and travel the world. And she's like, well, I want like multiple children within those years, and we can travel with the kids and stuff. So I think her timeline was the minute they say I do, it's like we're working on this family, when he is waiting for his get out moment, I guess.
All friends that are married and have kids, they leave them kids at home. They do not like taking their kids on vacation. So
I mean, even in something like Love is Blind, though, I would think regardless, you'd want a year or 2 before you start having kids, because you don't know each other yet. You've only known each other for 2 weeks. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know if I like you. Like, how are we supposed to talk about kids? I don't even know if I like you as a person. I don't know who you are. So, like, and it does make me wonder, what do y'all be talking about in these pods? Because it just,
it's true. But one thing I will say is interesting. One of the comments I saw in my recap was someone said Chelsea's much older. Well, not much, but older than Kwame. And, this was, I guess, a mother giving me that perspective, saying, when women get older, it becomes increasingly harder. Like, chances are much slimmer of having children and it being a healthy pregnancy. So maybe Chelsea is like kind of, thinking about that. Like, her biological clock is, much different, of course, than Kwame's. Kwame's still very much like, I want to, be, with my wife and no children. Like, I want no responsibilities.
How old is she?
Isn't she 30? Or I thought she was 30.
Yeah, Chelsea 30, but I mean, she looked older, but she just 30. But
how old is she, like 25 or something?
I'm so sorry. Look, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean it like that. I swear.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Oh, people are saying in the comments that Kwame's 33 and she's 30.
Yeah, like,
he's not
30. Like,
not that young.
Okay, I'm still fertile. I'm older than her. Like, she gonna be okay. It's just.
But I guess it comes down to her wanting like 4 kids or 3 or 4 kids. That's probably where like, oh, okay, now, well, how quickly is this gonna happen?
Tell her how the first kid and then see if she's gonna amend how many kids she's trying to have in this economic climate. Okay, barely take care of my godchildren. So I'm just, I don't understand that. But can we talk about how Kwame's in love with Micah? Because it's clear as a parent, and I just thought it was so disrespectful at your fiance's birthday party to ask Micah, "Are you happy? Do you feel like you made the right choice?" And I was so happy when Micah was like, "Why are you asking me this like 2 weeks before we're supposed to get married? Like, what were your thoughts on this?"
Isn't there a line, you guys, that he says in the off-camera interview where he says that Micah still has a very special place in my heart? But he emphasis on the special place. I'm like, it wasn't just I'll always care for her. It was like, she has a special place in my heart. It's like he's using that as why he's torn with Chelsea, and that's not great. I think he's not recovered from Mexico. He got the closure he needed, but he now wants more of Micah. They were all touchy-feely in Mexico, and now they're back in the real world, and he's still trying to rekindle that a little bit, because every time he sees her, he completely changes. Like, his personality, he's all bubbly again, and then when he's with Chelsea back at home, he's very much like, oh, here we go. Like, I have to take care of everything. So, yeah, it's very weird.
She stressed him out all day. Like it's just nag. Like you're not doing this or that's marriage or this and that. Like, girl, I can see why you probably single because you got me stressed out and we not even dating.
Seems like one of those, the grass is always greener. He's just seeing Micah not like with her, so it's like, oh, maybe this is, what I want. Have it so it feels like this, this thing that maybe would be better or something. When I don't know, I thought that all that stuff in the previous episodes with Micah just showed how much drama she was. Like, I didn't like any of that where, she's coming over to him, being all touchy-feely. Like, it was just all weird. And I felt like he was just kind of sucked up into it and didn't notice how, sketchy she was being.
But she just wants attention. Micah's the type of woman that just wants attention. So if you're giving her attention, she's going to flirt with you. But it doesn't mean that she likes you, I think she thinks that he's a good person, but she does not want to be with you. And I feel like she's made that abundantly clear. Even how disrespectful she was. Like, let's take a shot to her almost proposal. Like,
it was a failed proposal. Oh gosh.
This girl don't like you. She does not like you. I don't understand what Kwame sees in her, but
she was the one that ended it too in the pods. Like, she could have had Kwame. Like, she's the one that said, no, I'm going to go with the safe choice or something, with Paul. So
I think what Kwame sees in Micah is someone who is less committal and willing to adapt to what he wants. And Chelsea has much more of a stronger attitude, and she's very much set on what she wants, and he doesn't like not being in as much control. That's kind of, I think, how he's framing it in his mind. What's wrong? Oh no! Oh no!
I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
No, don't.
I'm just gonna keep it to myself. All I'm saying with Kwame and Chelsea, I just feel like Kwame needs to be more vocal. Like you said, James, he does need to be more vocal. But she's really stressful to me. Like, how she stressed him out about her dad coming, and her dad seemed like he was chill as hell. Like, why did you do all that? Knowing that Kwame got PTSD from meeting all these white daddies that I don't know if he just dealt with some women that they family don't mess with black people, but he already seemed like he had trauma because my man was trying to change his name. Okay, he was trying to go by a whole different name. So I don't know why she would make him feel even more stressed out. Like, you have to make sure we have make a great impression. Like, your daddy looked like he could care less who you were. So I
wonder if that's a producer thing. If they're play stuff up, so that it feels like there's drama, because the dad was completely fine. Like, he was chill the whole time.
Yeah. Oh gosh, don't highlight this comment. Too bad.
Maybe highlight it. Now, someone said in my recap in the comment section that, they were like, we're too hard on black men when they date outside their race, and it's not the same, when black women date outside of their race. And here's my thing about the whole Kwame. I don't mind, I don't care if people live outside, date outside their race. Like, my nieces are biracial, my ex-baby daddy was white. It don't matter, okay? I love everybody. The only issue that I have is it truly feels like Kwame has this type of identity crisis or a self-hate where it just comes off that he only surrounds himself around white people and only dates white women. So when I feel like when you just kind of put another race on a pedestal and kind of ignore your own culture, your own people, that's where I have an issue. And I just get that feeling. And I think as people keep watching and you kind of see some of the things, I think you guys know what I'm talking about, as you kind of see his inner circle, I think that will become more abundantly clear. But I just didn't want people to think that I was just out here, just being against, interracial relationships. It's just, I don't like when it feels like you have a preference to only talk to this type of person. So that's what I mean with Kwame. I just want y'all to know my heart in the right place, but I'm still gonna say how I feel, okay?
Of course.
But yeah,
Oh wait.
No,
Oh, because yeah, that was a joke. Listen, Shauna, I just like I was like listening. I was so in tune with what you were saying. Were you talking about Chris Evans?
Yeah, of course. They know
Oh,
that.
okay.
of course he does.
So, Yolanda says Kwame wants to be accepted versus truly feeling in love. He was pick me vibes for a white woman that looks like. You always so
Well,
bad.
does he want acceptance, or does he just want an easy relationship? That's what it kind of feels like for me. It's like, yeah, I'm sure I don't know though.
I think that was the acceptance, like for because him saying he wanted to change his name to Alex. I think that was giving when he wants to be accepted by white people because
That's true.
you know what I mean. Like you say your name is Alex, like sir, you think we can't tell through your voice like who you are? I don't. I can't.
I agree. I agree with you.
I will say though, like this season, I felt like they had so many like great conversations between the black men on the show of like being more emotional and being vulnerable, and that was one of my favorite aspects of the show was like seeing the conversations between like him and Brett and Marshall and like them just like being open and even saying like we don't really see conversations like this on shows like this between men like us. And I'm like, yeah, like I think that's so awesome that they were like bringing awareness to that and having like different conversations that like open themselves up and were just being more in tune with their emotions and stuff.
I agree with you, Kristen, because that's one thing that I noticed too, and I picked up on really quickly is that this is very much the most vulnerable season I think of Love Is Blind yet, and I'm okay with that. I just hope that the producers continue to showcase that, because I know there's probably much more that's probably left on the cutting room floor in terms of these emotional conversations, mental breakdowns, talking through with your partner. But I do like that they weren't afraid to showcase the men on this show having those tough conversations because it is something we haven't seen before. I mean, did we really see vulnerability like Marshall and Jackie had in week 1? I don't think we've ever seen something like that in Love Is Blind, have we?
No.
And I think that it's really important, especially, men of color, especially black men. I always talk about representation in media and actually being able to see these men be vulnerable and have conversations and you never really see them, get angry. I think it's really great, kind of challenging the stereotypes that we actually see in media. I think that that's really important too. So, I know I'm going to seem like I'm choosing violence, but I wanted to go back to the Kwame thing one time because someone had a comment that kind of peaked, like and I lost it. This is so disrespectful. Someone made a comment about, okay, so Paige said it's given let me whitewash myself like the Indian guy Shake.
Like Shake.
And I think so. This is something that does bother me about Love Is Blind. It feels like they pick people, and I think we also saw this in The Perfect Match. If you watched that this season, I feel like when they have like people of color, and especially what I've seen from black male participants in these shows, is that they typically pick black men who aren't interested or attracted to, or who don't date black women. And I think that's very dangerous to have something like that because in a world, where black women already feel not desired, not wanted, I think that like that's what the media portrays is very disheartening to me, like how they keep finding men like this, and I think that's why people have latched on so quickly to Brett and Tiffany and to Marshall is because we really don't see people who like people who look like them. And so I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't want to, be crazy, but I do think it's important that I hope from a casting standpoint, when they're interviewing these people, that they start to pick people who are actually open to talking to like everyone and they don't have specific preferences. I actually wonder, do they ask them that? Because it just, I don't know.
They probably don't ask them that, right, Shauna? Because they want them to go in like not even thinking about the physical appearance. But I agree with you. There needs to be that screening question because they're, like you said, Perfect Match. I picked up on it so fast. I'm like, this is just a very white-facing show now. Like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see, when things like that happen. So, I was glad that like this season I felt like we got to see more people of color in like the central like romances and like we said here, like that they're having like real emotional like conversations and bringing that to the forefront because it's so important.
Let's hope the next seasons are like this as well. Because I don't think I honestly still think that they're shocked that Lauren and Cameron happened. I really don't think they have a bingo card for Lauren and Cameron ending up together. Like, I think they're still probably shocked about this. Now that Rodney y'all out.
Oh, let's go.
Here's my
Put those lights up.
Hit that like button.
Get your life together. K Baby says they show these black women in the trailer. They never get picked. So yeah,
that's a pure marketing tactic too. They want to try to target a different demographic, a specific audience, and I hate when shows do that sometimes, where it's like, wait, all of that happened in the first episode, and there are 10 more episodes left. Like, that's terrible. It's misleading.
I don't think it's Bliss. Okay, I feel like Bliss got something in her because, like, because her, the hair always tell it, but because I can't make a comment because then
I know what you're thinking about episode 9. I know.
Okay, so what are your thoughts then?
I think she's mixed. I do.
Mixed with what though?
I thought she was like maybe.
I thought she's Latina.
No, I don't think so. I think she might be like, I don't like Indian or Persian, maybe something like that.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I think I'm getting the exact right thing, but I think it's something like that. Oh, or there she goes. Oh, okay, then I'm completely wrong.
I thought she was Hispanic to a degree. I wasn't sure though.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay. The more you know. Okay. Thank you, her real review. Y'all better educate us.
That's right.
Oh, okay. So I got that a little.
Yay, Kristen.
All right. I was like, I saw the hair. I was like, she got something in her because I saw the little flyway. But okay, that's fine.
Oh, flyway.
The hair always gonna tell it. Okay, so let's talk. Since y'all brought up Bliss, let's just talk about Bliss and Zach. Did Netflix give her more money to go on a date? Like, do you feel like production was like, hey, y'all should go talk to each other? Because I was just kind of confused. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was purely a producer's move, and then it ended up, I guess, working out for them because of them being engaged. But I do think the producers led Bliss on to be like, yeah, you should do it. Yeah, we really need you for this one episode, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So you could tell she didn't want to be in that conversation. Like, she was ready to grill Zach, and she did grill him, which is fine. He deserves it. But it's weird. I went from thinking that both of them were just, like producer plants to then thinking, oh man, they're actually kind of nice together. It's weird, right? It's like a cute kind of like they kind of jab at each other. It's nice.
Shonda's rolling her eyes like, are they cute together?
You don't think they're cute together, Shonda?
Me and the second pick ain't cute, okay? No. I cannot get past it. I truly cannot get past him choosing Irina because he totally read her. He knew exactly who she was, and he still chose her. So, like, I know people in my comments are like, I can't believe that you're giving them so much hate. And it's just like, she's a second. Like, I'm telling you, a woman is never going to get over that you're the second. That's always going to be in the back of her mind. And you could tell when they were having a conversation that it still truly bothers her. And he was totally dismissive of what she had to say about how she can't, like, there's this sinking feeling that she has. It's like, I'm only here because, you chose Irina and then it didn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and imagine when she watches it and sees what happened, because he tried to play it off like, oh, I just wasn't feeling her. No, baby, this girl wasn't feeling you from the moment she laid eyes on you. So it's never going to sit right in my spirit. I'm never going to root for them. Hey, you like it, I love it. I ain't got to be with him. But I can't be number 2. I'm sorry. I can't be your number 2. I can't be the backup plan.
Especially like in a week span. Like like I get that Bliss, I get that Irina didn't like Zach and like, yeah, that completely, shuts you off from her. Like, okay, well, she clearly is just, doesn't like me. But I felt like when Zach and Bliss got together, it just felt awkward. Like, it felt like I just want to continue to be on the show. Like, I just, like you could easily just be like, okay, well, it didn't work. Now you're off. Right. I just felt like there was so much awkwardness. Like, you know, she's letting him kiss her, but she's talking through it. Like while he's trying to give her kisses, you know, he's proposing. It just feels like it's so quick. I don't know. I was surprised that she said yes. It just, I don't know. It was just awkward all around, I thought, and it felt like they just wanted to continue to be on the show. Maybe we'll see that they, you know, form a deeper connection as we keep watching. But
I know.
you know, it was just awkward. And no, I was gonna say when Irina kept saying he looks like a cartoon, I was gonna say he looks exactly like one of the Property Brothers. Like he could be their triplet.
Chris said this in his recap, and I died laughing. He said he looks like the Property Brother, and who else in John Mulaney?
Oh,
John Mulaney, that's funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
I will say it's very interesting though that he got super defensive when she was like, "No, I was a second option to you," and he's like, "No, if you're still here, then you're my first option right now." It's like, well, dude, do you not know how this works? Like, how do you not like see this? Like, you have terrible self-awareness right now.
No, he's aware. He's trying because someone talked about how he overtalks people. When he gets uncomfortable and he knows that like his point isn't going through, he tries to overtalk people and keep talking to distract them from what the like main topic was at hand. And he literally told Paul when they met up, Paul asked him like, "Do you feel like you should have chosen Bliss?" And he said, "No, I feel like I made the decision that I made." And he was like, "Are you going to talk to Bliss?" And he was like, "I made my choice. Like, I'm not gonna." Like he literally asked this, so I know he knows what she's talking about, and he didn't want to admit it, and that's what bothers me is because he doesn't even have the discernment to at least make his partner feel comfortable and really accept and validate her feelings of her feeling like she's the second choice because she's been getting dragged. Like people are like, why are you with him? So make her feel comfortable and make her feel confident that, you know, even when he was like, our paths would have always led us back to here. And I was just like, no.
Oh yeah.
You're only there because Irina didn't want you.
Yeah, and you're lucky that maybe they were like, okay, this is a great twist for production. Like we've never had this happen before in the US version of Love is Blind. Like, ooh, this is so exciting. Like this is gonna get those viewers in. You know, I don't know. I don't get them together at this point. You know,
if that's true, KO, I mean, I don't think that he's there to do that because he didn't even give us the name of his law firm when he had the opportunity to. Yeah.
But from the very beginning, like, you're going to go with the girl who's like, oh, it's your birthday, I forgot to get you something. Or the girl who spends hours making you cupcakes. I think it's a pretty obvious choice.
And then she goes to Bliss and is like, can I have a single candle? Like, what are you lighting? The room on fire? What are you doing?
And you know what? And also all their little weird quirks that they had together. The song, which I think is not a rare, never heard of song. Like they're making it sound like nobody knows this song. And the owls, like they just had all these like little things. Like it seemed like it was pointing you in that direction, and you just went the complete opposite choice. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's a bad decision maker.
Yeah, how's he a lawyer? Making these bad. I'd be worried.
I'm gonna actually ask this question. I'm going to go off camera to blow my nose. But how did you feel about the conversation between Micah and Bliss? Actually, yes. How did you feel about the conversation with Micah and Bliss? And Zach just randomly coming to kiss Bliss mid-conversation. Was he scared of what Micah might have been saying to her? Like, very weird. It felt like, let me stop you from talking to her in case she tells you something that happened between me and Irina. So what did you thought? I'm just going off camera for 2 seconds.
I will say, first of all, that was a very awkward thing, Kristen, because like, wasn't he eating salmon or she was eating salmon? Like, it was the weirdest like kiss in the world, I thought, because it probably wasn't very pleasant to the breath and the smell. But I will say that like I think he was nervous because he knew how good of friends Micah and Irina were. So Irina, you know, of course it was amicable, like a split at the end of Mexico, like let's go our separate ways. But you know, Irina's a mean girl, so she probably could have been spilling the beans to Micah, and then Micah spilling the beans to Bliss. And I guess Zach was trying to protect his peace or what he thought he had in terms of peace with Bliss.
Yeah, I mean, it also, I feel like, especially when they were all in Mexico, it seemed like none of the girls liked Zach anyway. Like I remember there was at one point, I think it was Micah that was like, oh, Bliss dodged a bullet. So, maybe he was nervous because none of the girls seemed to like him and kind of thought that he was creepy anyway.
Mhm.
But, I thought it was kind of him trying to kind of just being, he didn't have, like, Irina wouldn't accept a kiss from him. So maybe he was trying to be like, oh, look, see, I have someone now that will accept my kiss. Let me show everybody, with the salmon breath that like, she's still accept my kiss because Irina would have pushed me away and been like, no.
The whole thing
Yeah.
was like, I guess it was a couple of things. So when they were having dinner and he was like, have you seen my bedroom? I'll show you later. I'd have been like, cut the cameras. Like, Zach, who do you think you are that you have the audacity to think that I'm going to go to your bedroom?
That was weird, Sharonda.
It was giving me run. It was giving he's going to lock the doors and trap you in the basement. I just didn't understand why he thought that was cute. Like, the whole thing just felt forced. And I don't know if it was a production thing that made them like go have dinner at his place. It just felt weird. And I just don't see how Bliss to him.
The dancing, Sharonda, the dancing. I was like, this is awkward. There's no music playing probably, and you just ruined it.
A moment, trying to force a moment. Isn't this romantic? Puts on baseball cap like
knocks you out, gets you in the cage. No.
I think this is the actual technique, and I can't think what it is. Is it blanching? Is it when you blanch the meat?
I think so. I always thought those Sharonda is like when you're trying to marinate. I thought he was trying to marinate the meat, and then eventually, it didn't work out well.
It's something like it's like when you have something hot and you put it in water. I really, y'all, I've been trying to be on my cooking game. Let me just look this up. What?
Just marinating, then the meat wouldn't have been bad. Like it would.
No, but he had it in water.
He was doing something different, maybe.
Blanching is the process
and then
or submerged in boiling water and then immediately cooled.
Oh, that's got to be it then. Okay. Nice, Chef Sharonda. Very nice.
I'm trying to prepare myself for my husband. Okay. I don't know if that's what it was. Okay, so don't quote me on nothing. But okay, or that thing. Let's see.
Oh, a Sue. Okay.
But I guess if
he was trying to thaw it,
not good anymore. Like I think, I don't know.
Oh, that's what he was doing. So it says the sous vide is when you're cooking something at a high temperature, like through water though. But the bag was open. Like he didn't. It's supposed to be in a vacuum sealed bag.
Oh well.
Water.
He messed that up from the beginning then.
You know what it was? You know what it was giving? It was like I just watched all these YouTube videos and I'm gonna cook for the very first time on the same exact night that I'm supposed to be preparing for dinner. Like, no, I avoided that mistake when I cooked for my girlfriend and I's anniversary. I was like, let me practice on my family beforehand.
Because my man's put it in a Ziploc bag. I'm like, baby, you gotta put that in a vacuum sealed bag. Like, what were you doing? Okay, I didn't understand.
Well, it goes back to his decision making.
Sous vide. Paige said, "Get it right. It's sous vide."
Oh, sorry. Okay. Is that French? That's so fancy. It's French.
Yeah, it has to be. Okay, because I thought we were just gonna say boil in a bag. Okay. So what else? What else happened with them? We had the awkward proposal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess everything just feels fake to me. I feel like I'm just being so pessimistic about their relationship because I just feel like everything just feels so fake and so forced. Like it's giving, we needed to keep another couple so we can have more content for the episodes. It's just something about it. It just does not feel real to me. Like,
but I will say though, like, does Bliss seem like the type of woman to you to just play along? I mean, know.
They're all on reality television. How do we know? Right.
Oh, true, Kristen. Okay.
That's why, like, because you would think, like, okay, we're really here to find love, but like, you're on reality TV. I don't know. Maybe they're like, we need more couples. This is a big twist. that, you know, it's going to keep people invested and coming back because you've never seen this before. Like, that's why for me, this is one of the craziest seasons yet, because I'm like, you know, there's so much chaos like that going on. And then you're also having some of these deeper conversations. And to me, I'm like, oh, this is one of the best seasons yet. You know, there's so much drama. You never know what could happen. People can come back, you know, so I mean, it keeps the entertainment going. That's what kept me invested. If that didn't happen, I probably would have. I mean, it would have been just like whatever, another season. This is, I think, one of the craziest seasons because all this stuff. So,
but you know, it's interesting though, because what I talked to one of my friends, and she was just like, I stopped watching it, and I was like, why? It's so good, and she was just like, it's not about love anymore. It's like all this crazy stuff happening, people choosing one person, going to another person. Like, it's not about love, and it just doesn't feel believable anymore, because the whole thing is supposed to be, is love blind? Can you fall in love with somebody without seeing them? And I don't think that is right from a production standpoint. And I do think that they've opened up a very bad can of worms, that you can pick one person, and if you don't like them, you can go to the other person that you wanted. I don't think that's setting a very good precedent for future seasons to come, because, like, I mean, y'all haven't even seen all the craziness, but it's a lot of crazy things happening this season that I thought would have been against the rules, that you wouldn't be able to do. So I don't know, but it just feels very weird to me.
It's a slippery slope. I think when you open up that avenue for the twists the show can take, you defeat the purpose of the show, which is, hey, if it didn't work out with the person you proposed to in the pods, that's it. Like, that should be it. And you know what? It goes back to your point, Sharonda. I think that, like, they need to have, in my opinion, a change of hosts to remind us of these rules and maybe remind us of what's at stake, because I feel like for a while we just feel like we're not even watching Love is Blind. It's just like, you know, just a peek into the lives of these couples. I feel like we're losing the essence of the actual competition itself.
But I feel like they should still from Married at First Sight, even though I stopped believing in them after the whole Paige and Chris season. But I feel like they need a therapy component. There has to be a therapy component, because a lot of these people, they dealing with personal traumas. Like, I don't even think they understand some of the things. Like, I feel like even having a counselor for, you know, the finance situation between Brett and Tiffany, or helping Jackie on how to have better communication with Marshall, or even having Chelsea realize that she's not compromising with her fiance. It's like little things that I feel would make a lot of these relationships a little bit better, or help people to better explore, would they be able to have an opportunity to be with this person, you know, if they were doing the work while they have these couple of weeks. But
I think so, for sure.
Change. Like, the hosts definitely need to change, just as far as, I feel like there's a lack of accountability when we get to, I mean, I love them. You know, I love me some Nick and Vanessa, but I do want there to be more accountability, especially when we get to reunions. So it would be very interesting to watch the reunion for this one, because I think a lot of people need to be held accountable by the time we get
there. So, I hope they'll ask the tough questions, because there's been definitely times where they don't, and you're like, what's going on, Nick and Vanessa? Like, you could really be diving a bit deeper into the, you know, what's going on with everyone. But I definitely agree that they need some kind of like therapist or counselor there, because everyone is dealing with so much stuff and so many emotions and all these different things, that I think that maybe it could help people be on like a better path, you know, some kind of couples counselor to be like, do I really want to do this? Like, marriage is a huge thing. And sometimes it feels like you're kind of like mocking marriage, because, you know, you can easily be like, no, in front of all your family and friends. Like, isn't that, I don't know, it's a very traumatic and like waste of time thing for all these people. You know, so
that's a great point.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
a great point, Kristen.
What did it happen to?
Oh, did it?
Oh, they did. There was like another couple that they just didn't show.
Oh yeah, they do that all the time. I feel like even if maybe it's season 2 or 3, where like there was 2 full other couples that got engaged and they didn't follow them at all, because they just try to choose who do we think is going to have the best story. We only want like 5 couples or something, because they don't have the bandwidth to cover more. That's what I had read about, which I think is, you know, unfortunate, because, you know, if more couples were engaged, I'd like to follow them as well.
Lori's saying they're not going to have. I mean, that's true.
No, yeah.
Yes, but I will say though, like, if they do have a therapy segment, which I hope they do in the future, they probably wouldn't be able to film it, right? I know there's like laws maybe in place to where therapists, like there's a confidentiality agreement between the person that you're counseling.
It doesn't. It's not. They do it on Married at First Sight. I think they actually show. I think the therapist gives them questions. It's like a licensed therapist. I think they just give them questions or advice. But they do have a pastor who kind of will meet with them, like a couples counseling type of thing. Like,
okay,
they do that. So they need something, because a lot of these people, I do feel like some of these relationships could work, or they could see, I think it would help them make their decision, right? Like if we were getting help and counseling through these 6 weeks, and by the end, I realized if you were doing the work or not doing the work, it will help me make a better decision on if I want to be with you, if I want to say yes or no.
Right.
So I don't know, but I guess let's just talk about Paul and Micah, and then we're gonna get into Marshall.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, the biggest thing is, like, I'm kind of concerned because Paul is dating his mother, and Micah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It was so funny when his mom came in, and it was like they are the same person. They immediately love each other. It was so funny.
I don't know about Paul, but I would most definitely not want to date my mother. I'm just putting it out there. That would not be at all like no. And I do think though, that meeting probably helped, Paul make it more real for Paul. But like the other meeting, which I don't want to leapfrog here, but it feels like that other meeting with Micah and her friends pretty much hurt their chances.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, honestly, ain't nothing happened outside of seeing his apartment and.
Well, there was that one conversation, Sharonda, remember? About like him not wanting to move back and forth between Sedona and Seattle.
But what did she do in Arizona? Because I was confused. That was a whole nother Kwame and Chelsea. Like, girl, if you work from home and you know he has to be here, he a whole scientist. Like, why are we having this conversation? Like, what do you do in Arizona that you live in 2 different places?
What it's giving? It's giving, I still want an out just in case this doesn't work. Because it doesn't feel like she's confident with Paul yet.
I can't. Michael, don't you start, because I called you and you didn't call me back. Okay? Return phone.
Oh.
But y'all go check out Black Gay Comic Geek, who get on my nerves every day of the week. Yeah, I don't see it for Paul and Micah. I don't think she likes them. I think that she's trying to make it work. I think she's trying to tell herself. But I do think one telling thing that her, and I almost feel like Kwame, like when she made that comment, like when she told her parents, like, I told you guys I wasn't gonna find anyone. So I was just like, so if you going into this thinking you're not gonna find nobody, do y'all just be signing up for this stuff just for the hell of it? Like, what? Because I know when I fill out my application, I'm trying to get chosen because I'm trying to find my husband. Okay, I'm trying to find my husband.
I mean, from what I had heard, when they apply for this stuff, they're up for a lot of options of different shows. So, right? Like, I heard something like that where, like, when they apply for these, it's like there's a huge range of shows. Some of them, like Love is Blind, like A Perfect Match, like The Mole, and that they could be chosen and moved around for any of them. And that's why, they end up like, like Dom was able to go from like The Mole to Perfect Match.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
You never know. She might have been trying to, maybe she was looking for love. Maybe she wasn't.
No, you're right. I've applied for Married at First Sight, and I've applied for, I didn't apply for, I forgot what it was, but I did go to the Netflix reality. You do kind of apply for like multiple jobs at once, multiple shows. Now, the Married at First Sight, you really got to be looking for love. Because, baby, when I tell y'all that application, that is wrong. That's the longest application I've ever filled out in my life. They actually question, like, do you smoke? Like, what is your views on religion? Are you open to dating outside of your right? Like, they ask very detailed questions for the Married at First Sight application. So I will say, like, even I had to just be like, baby, I'm going to have to sit down and really, like, put some thought into this. But the Netflix one now, it is kind of like what show you want to be on. It is just like you do a bit, that's it. Like, so So I guess it is they kind of choose like who do they feel is actually good for TV. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I just think to Cheeto's point here, I think that their relationship is rockier than we're led to believe. I mean, the producers are letting us see them play footsies all the time and like, oh, you're cute, no, you're cute and stuff. But every time they have a conversation that is serious, Paul shuts down completely, and then Micah's like, I want to be in control of this conversation, do what I want, and then he isn't willing to work both ways. So it just doesn't seem like they're really great together.
I just feel like Micah don't like him, and I feel like Paul is a very logical person, and so I think that he plays off of her emotions. Because even when he was like, "You just got up early," and you're just up and at him. Because I was like, "Girl, didn't you just get your back blown out? So like, were you not having fun? Was it not good? Like you just got up like kind of like, I wasn't enjoying this. I wasn't having a good time. So I just it." It just gives me that she don't really like that boy like that. And I really hate that for him because he seems like a cool dude. Like he seems like he's trying to take it serious, especially if he dealt with her raggedy friends because they were hanging out to come through that screen.
Awful. Like Shelby is her name, right? Shelby is so it was her birthday and Micah walks up and then immediately the spotlight's on her. How awkward would that be? Like, hey, like Sharonda, if you invited all of us to your birthday and then it immediately wasn't about your birthday anymore. That's so terrible. But like Micah seemed like right. And I think Micah took her comments to heart. Didn't she make a comment that she actually it's make or break for a lot of her relationships because her friends didn't like her partner? Not great.
Yeah, and it was interesting because like you started out honestly with the whole weird conversation of Irina being interested in Paul, but then you went from a high of Micah met Paul's mom. It was so great. They're so similar, and they had a great time, and then you go down to this like, okay, now Micah's friends are meeting him and immediately don't like him, and he's trying to play it off that he's not upset by the way that they're treating him, and she's like, well, that's a red flag now that you don't care about how they think of what they think of you. And it was just like it felt so toxic, and like I think her and her friends are the red flag there. I thought he was trying to be like, whatever, I don't care about it, when clearly if people are coming at you, that's gonna maybe make you feel some kind of way. But I think like they definitely got in her head to be like, oh, well, then maybe this is not the right person, which maybe she was already feeling that way. But you don't need to be like that to this guy. Like you're all on this show. Like, I don't know, so much drama for no real reason.
Trash.
You know,
Daddy, for the super chat. I just appreciate you. Thank you for keeping.
Oh wow, 2 super chats. Let's go.
Okay. Money. Okay, but y'all hit the like button. It's 213 people in here. Just hit the like button, please. If you woke up
for real,
morning, okay, hit the like button. If you watch Love Is Blind, hit the like button, okay?
Yes. Contrary to love on this show, likes are not blind. So let's continue to like the video.
I think the other thing with her friends though is I just felt like I don't think I've like noticed this as much on other seasons, but I felt like so many people were super, super drunk this season when they're having like these really terrible conversations.
I mean, it was her birthday, but she seemed like she was wasted. Because when the other one was like, "How serious are you?" I said, "Girl, what? How serious are you? If you don't want to sit down somewhere and drink some water, like what are you?
Drink some water, please, people." Like every conversation that I feel like was a little too much with Micah and Kwame, with Micah and her friends. They all like just blatantly seemed too drunk, and I don't feel like I'd noticed that in previous seasons where it was that bad. But this season I was like, oh my god, people, please give them more water.
Yeah, it was a lot happening, and I just think that I felt like Micah should have checked her friends, because I wouldn't let my friends disrespect my significant other like that, especially if he wasn't being disrespectful to them. So I felt like when she kind of checked Paul, because he was like, I don't care. And then she checked him. I was like, girl, you need to be checking your friends. Like the fact that he's even been giving them thoughtful answers this whole time. Like, why are you even allowing this to happen still? Like, I would have been like, babe, she's drunk. Like, I'm so sorry. She's just drunk. But I don't It seems like
to that point. Oh, sorry, Sharon. I didn't mean to cut you off.
girl, you're fine. I'm just saying it seems like Micah is a mean girl because like all her friends is just evil. It kind of gives me like her and Irina vibes with her and Shelby.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I do think that if there was no alcohol involved, there would be more real conversations where like people would be able to express themselves without Micah then cutting off her fiance and then saying, oh, they don't care about any of that. Like they don't care about your logic and reasoning. But I do think there's too much alcohol on this season, and to the point where especially in Mexico I genuinely thought that like someone was passing out by the end of that mixer that they had where Kwame and Micah were like, getting all touchy feely because they were like leaning. It was bad. I'm like, y'all, they are so gone. So I think that, if we're gonna have a therapy component, maybe they should have a little bit of counseling in that side of things too. Why are you leaning on this? Not like AA, you know what I mean? But it's gotten to the point this season where I feel like it's a little much, especially at Chelsea's birthday. Josh, I don't want to leapfrog again, but he was way gone, way gone.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They probably just need more food. As someone who goes to a lot of industry events, there's always a ton of alcohol. It is never enough food. I'm just like, how am I supposed to drink anything? Y'all ain't even got no food. I gotta go like eat something and put it on my stomach before I make it to the event because I'm gonna lose my mind. I can't. They gotta learn how to handle their liquor, but production also needs to give them more food to soak the alcohol down. But we do have one more thing to talk about between Paul and Micah, and that's really the conversation between Irina and Micah, and then the conversation between Micah and Paul as a result of it. Because I was really confused how Micah was really asking Paul these questions. Like Paul was the one in the wrong. Because if I was Paul, I would have been like, "Well, baby, what's going on with you and Kwame?" Because like you probably would have noticed your friend was hitting on me at the pool if you weren't too busy trying to like relive pod times with Kwame. I just felt like she was looking for a reason to be upset with him, and I'm just like, "You're reaching, Micah. You're really reaching because you were the one that was being disrespectful." So what are
I
y'all
agree with
thoughts
you.
on
I think
that conversation?
I Micah is totally wrong here. Just like objectively, like she again was, to your point, trying to create some sort of discourse and like, hey, I want to prove my point. Like my point is valid. It's like, no, I think Paul genuinely was pushing away Irina, and then Irina was the one that was trying to make things happen in Mexico and making a pass at Paul. But it's weird how Micah tries to rationalize things in her mind. It's like, if she has a point about something, she has to be proven correct, no matter what. We see it with her friends. Like, she's always got to have a say in everything, and it has to be that it's her way or the highway. And then we see it when, of course, they're talking about where they want to live, and she's trying to almost gaslight Paul a little bit, and that like, oh, like, why don't you like, she's saying everything except for why don't you love me, and like just trying to make him feel so terrible about the situation. But I don't agree with Micah in the slightest. I think Paul handled it, and he still is handling it so far pretty well. I just feel bad that he's continued to be put into those situations.
It took everything in me. I'm really trying to like hold back the urge to not saying Beyonce, "Why don't you love me?" I know how much they hate my singing. But Kristen, what were your thoughts about the conversation between Micah and Paul as I fight my urge not to sing?
Oh my gosh. It was just like they didn't even need the conversation because it was clear that Paul had no interest in Irina. The fact that she even brought that up to Micah, it just it was so he looked uncomfortable with her. The conversation was uncomfortable. Like, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I kind of like your fiance, or like I feel more towards your fiance than I do to my fiance, so that like means something right now. Like, it was just like such a random weird conversation, and the fact that she even brought it up to Paul was like laughable. Like, he clearly wasn't interested. And then the fact that she's like, well, did you do something? Like, did you give her any like signs or whatever that she was trying to like insinuate? It was just silly. Just another, give us more drama for drama's sake. I wouldn't be surprised if like producers are like, have this conversation, like, go.
Yeah.
Like,
I just, that whole conversation when Irina asked Micah, did Paul ask about me? Like, does he want to see me? I said,
what? That's crazy.
And she
It blew
was
my
dead
mind.
ass. Asked her with a straight face, like, did he ask about me? Like, do he want to leave you for me? Like, girl, delusional. Thank you.
You know what? It's kind of crazy. Yes, I agree. You should sing on live, Sean. I'll do it next time. But it's kind of weird to me that Irina is like, I didn't think that she would be such a mean girl, especially with her describing her past on this show. You know, like she was always saying how she would be so insecure, and then eventually when she grew up, you know, she decided to like, you know, fight those insecurities and then be more confident. But I don't know, why is she like the type of people that pretty much bullied her, it sounds like, when she was younger? Why is she that person now?
Wants to relive, like she wants to have the roles reversed. But the funny thing was, like, I asked her when I talked to her, I asked her, like, why did you even tell Micah that in the first place? Like, you don't feel like that's just info you could have kept to yourself? And she said that she didn't want it to be, I guess she said it to production. And so she didn't want production to kind of like show that, and she didn't have the conversation with her. So that's why she said she decided to tell Micah that she want her man. So yeah.
At least she was trying to get ahead of it, I guess. But you know, who know? You know, they don't know what is going to be used in the show at all. I'm sure there's so many things on the cutting room floor. So
yeah,
you know, but it made for great TV.
I mean, Micah read her, but I also wanted to be like, Micah, this is my thing, and this is why I always be like, when people believe, like when people show you who they are, believe them. I don't know why Micah felt that she was exempt from the same behavior that Irina exhibited with the other women. Like the whole Bliss and Zach situation should have taught you that your man not safe either, because she literally went after this guy who she knows that he's in love with this other girl, and she took him because she felt like it. She wanted to just take him from Bliss, not because she actually liked him, because she wanted to win the game. So I don't understand why. I don't understand why she felt like she would be exempt from the same treatment that she saw her exhibit to other people in the house.
Yeah, and Micah herself also seemed like she was like a mean girl, but thought she was a sweet girl to everyone. You know, like she thought that she was coming across as sweet to everyone, and it's like, well, look at all these things that you're doing.
Yeah, and she was peeking with her. So I don't understand. Hey, the producers are super messy. Okay,
I was here for it too. This is one of my favorite seasons, honestly, because I love the drama, you know. I live for the drama.
It's probably the best season since the first, to be honest.
I agree.
It definitely is. Thank you guys so much to donating to the singing fund. I appreciate y'all. I feel so loved. Okay.
You have a lot of money in that singing fund, Sharonda.
Okay, clearly. Trust me, they gonna get some tunes. But let's talk about the most toxic of them all. Let's talk about Marshall, and let's talk about Marshall and Jackie. It is so. We started off with so much promise. My man was cooking breakfast, making raspberry strawberry compote. Like, what happened?
Washing dishes, Sharonda. Washing dishes, like
making a plate. I ain't never seen a man make a plate for a woman. That it just breaks my heart. What are y'all thoughts about Jackie and Marshall?
Oh gosh, where do we start, you guys? Goodness, I think Marshall genuinely loves her, is trying his hardest, and I mean, yes, he had bad choice of words when he called her a project, but I see where he's coming from in terms of he sees this as something that he's willing to fight for and work through together and grow together, because you'll never be the same person with your partner that you were in the beginning of your relationship, compared to 4 or 5 years down the line. So he kind of like is setting this up in his mind that, okay, this is something I'm committing to. I'm choosing to love her. But she has been saying this, I guess, since the first week, that she's used to like tatted up boys that are just like getting out of prison, that are just super like rough and rugged, that don't care for her. And she keeps saying that I've never had a man even cook for me or make a plate for me before. So this is new for her. But it's one thing to react to something that's new as a, oh, I'm surprised, this is great. And it's another to then like chastise this person or try to like revert back to your habits and say that he needs to be more aggressive and things like that. So she's doing this to herself. She's self-sabotaging, but I do think Marshall's in it genuinely for love.
He is. I mean, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I loved Marshall, and like he was, doing all the things that you would want, cooking, giving you space, all this stuff. And I feel like there's things going on that like the way that they're editing it, it's like Jackie clearly has stuff happening that they're not even showing, all the conversations that are happening off screen, maybe with her family or things like that are stressing her out. So then it, like, you kind of come in and you're a little confused because you're like, Marshall's this great guy. Jackie needs all this space because there's something going on in her life. And it's like, I don't know, they needed to add some kind of scene in there, just explaining a little bit more of what she's dealing with. But, you know, I feel like you said, you know, she's got this guy that's so sweet and like wants to do all these things for her, but she maybe, I don't know if she doesn't think she deserves it, or maybe she just doesn't find that attractive in the real world. Like maybe she's like, oh, maybe he is like a pushover. Maybe he is, you know, too sensitive for me now. Maybe I need a rougher guy. I just feel like it's so disappointing because Marshall is such a great catch and he's really trying. And, you know, a lot of the time she's just kind of like dismissing him or like needs her space or like has all these other things going on that, you know, it's not the priority. And I at first I kind of like thought it was interesting and respected it that, like, you know, yeah, the reality is you're taking weeks off from your life to go do this. And there are other things going on in the world, in your own life that, you know, this is kind of like a dream, you know, a little vacation away from that. So yeah, maybe there's realities that are harder for you that you're like kind of worried about going into now, or like, you know, have other things going on in life. But I felt like she didn't give him kind of the respect that he deserved when they're, you know, you're in this together. And I was rooting for them, and then it just kind of became a big mess, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, and I do want to talk about the main thing of her telling him that he needs to be more assertive, he needs to be more manly and initiate things. And this kind of goes back to how there's something that I've been challenging myself, and something that I see that we just do as a society is that we have these standards or gender norms of what makes a man and what makes like a woman like. It's like if a man is sensitive and he's able to tap into his emotions and express how he feels, like it's almost like he too sensitive for me. Like he not a man. Like, how is being in tune with your emotions and actually being able to articulate that? How does that make you any less? How does it make you less of a man? Or like how we see these debates about he wore pink, so like he don't like women because he wore pink. It's crazy that we've created these things in our head of what makes somebody identify as a male or female or other, and I just don't like that. And I think that's why we have situations where we have Jackie that wants someone. I want to feel safe and protected, so I want me a tatted up guy. I want me a guy with muscles and all these things, so I can feel safe and I can feel guarded. Not knowing that that man who validates your feelings, who listens to you, who cooks for you, who gives you time that you need when you need a moment, like that's a man. So I kind of hated the whole of her saying that to him, but also too with Marshall. I didn't like when he called her a project, because I don't want to be your project. Okay. Because I do feel like some men do date women who they see as might not have all their stuff together, or someone. I think sometimes a certain type of man wants someone who will be dependent upon them. Like they want somebody who needs to be helped, who needs to be taken care of financially, because that validates him. Like, she'll never leave me because she needs me. She needs to survive, not she wants to be with me just because I'm a good person. And so when he said that to her, it was too much. When he said project, and even how when Marshall did that clap, first of all, you don't clap at people, because when he did the clap, y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you, I jumped like I know Marshall did not just clap like that. So I do feel like Marshall has a temper on him.
Yeah.
And I think that he has a different side to him than what we actually see. And my man did disappear for 2 whole days. So I didn't like that either, because that doesn't make me feel safe. That makes me feel like you're just going to leave anytime we have issues. I don't want to put everything on Jackie, because I do feel like Marshall has his own issues that we don't see. And I do think the production is being highly messy this season. But I did appreciate when Marshall said, like, you want someone to, like, you know, you want someone to initiate sex. Like, I have to feel loved and appreciated. Like, you don't just get benefits because that's what you want. You need to make me feel loved and feel secure. Like, I think people forget that, like, I think some of my pastors said is, if you're in a relationship and you're always trying to outlove one another, then everybody's happy. But there's just certain things you can't bring yourself to do if you do not feel safe, loved, and protected. And I think that's on both sides, which is why I just think they definitely need couples counseling, because
yeah, no, I love what you said. And especially what you were saying before about like, with her being like, oh, he's not masculine enough for me. And then we had these great conversations that I feel like Marshall led, being more vulnerable and open. And so that was like such a highlight of the show, to see that. And then to see her kind of, it was just like the duality of like some people appreciating that and some people not appreciating that. But I felt like some of what Marshall said was more like trying to be like, okay, well, you wanted me to be more masculine. Now I'll say something to hurt your feelings because you hurt my feelings, because this is what and so I don't know. But I really thought that there was something in the beginning for them. And now it just felt like ever since like the end of their little honeymoon, that it's just been like bumping heads the whole time. So I don't know if it's gonna work for them. But you try, right? I thought they seemed like they, at least when they were in the pods, went for the person that they thought might be the right fit, versus just picking, somebody to pick for drama, like Irina and Zach. Like they were trying to go for what they thought that would be the right fit for them. I thought Jackie was trying to pick. Thought maybe I'll do something a little bit different, something that I haven't experienced before. Maybe this guy will be, the right kind of person for me. But not everybody works out. So
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that, I don't know, it's just something with them. Like, I feel like Jackie has other stuff going on, and I feel like she hasn't really had a partner that communicates in the way that he does. Like, I do think that they have different communication styles. But I was happy that she got it together for his family, because she scared me. Like, when she wait, I was like, how you gonna wait till they outside in the parking lot to have a moment? Like, that whole thing bothers me. I mean, what were y'all thoughts about that, and her making the comment that basically if her parents aren't okay with their relationship, then she's not gonna say yes, even though she didn't want him to meet them?
I mean, I understand. It sounds like she's the one that has to help her family entirely. Like we've already talked about, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But for her to put all of that stock into her family's approval, like, I don't personally see that as smart, because what if your family doesn't like the person that you're with, but for the wrong reasons, and that they're wrong, like objectively? Like, why would you then just appease, like, or date someone to appease your parents? That won't work out for you, because at the end of the day, when you're with your partner and you're going to get married, you're starting your own family together. So I think that she's freaking out because she's thinking of the 10,000-foot view of what's going to happen. She's overthinking, but I do appreciate, like you said, Sharonda, that she got it together for his family. But you have to imagine, Marshall's, I think it was his sister, seems very smart, and there were moments where, like, you can tell Jackie seemed like dejected from the conversation, and they probably had some conversations off camera or maybe on the phone or something. But how did that not come up, that like Jackie just didn't feel, I don't think she even seemed like she was still present in the moment, like she was still thinking about so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, first, thank you, Lamont. Thank you so much. Make sure y'all talk about life games. I think that I feel like she was trying to make it work. Because, I mean, we've seen her give looks to people that she don't want to talk to in the first place. I mean, look at the whole conversation with her and Josh at the end. But, I mean, I feel like she tried. But I just feel like Jackie's trying to, in her mind, like, I think she's trying to convince herself to stay. But I really just don't think that she's attracted to him. And I think that's okay. Like, I think she chose him because she felt like on paper he was the right one. So let me do something different from what I've been doing, because what I've been doing hasn't been working. But I think she's been trying to convince herself this entire time that she's liked him, that she loves him or is attracted to him. I just don't think that she is. And I think when she has those realizations is when she disconnects from him or says something to push him away. Because he's not her type. He's just not her type.
I mean,
Yeah.
she tried something different, like you said. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does,
Yeah, I will say from like a secondhand account of like her type, it seems like her type still isn't working for her though. So I mean,
Yeah.
she should be like hopefully well, she should have been hopefully more like up for trying with Marshall genuinely because there's one thing that I know my pastor tells me too is like when you don't know what to do, you do your habits, right? So her habit is going back to a toxic, self-sabotaging state of mind where she needs a guy to like probably like yell to like call her names and stuff, and that's where she feels at home, but it's not working clearly.
But that's learned behavior, right? I mean, think about it. People been saying in the chat that Marshall he's too emotional, he's not man enough. We're conditioned to feel like men who, first of all, we're conditioned to feel that men and women or people who identify as none, like that they're supposed to act a certain way. I think that's the first issue is that you're not a man unless you're aggressive, like, hey girl, come here, like, or something like that. And just because he's not like displaying these same characteristics that we've been taught that men are supposed to, look and act like, she's not attracted to him anymore. So I think that we're conditioned, like our environment conditions us to be attracted to a certain type or, to feel that this is the man I should be with. This is how I feel safe. So I don't know. I don't know. I just, maybe it's just Marshall. I don't know. I do feel like there's more to Marshall than what we're saying. I do feel like there's more to him. But let's talk about her and Josh. Because actually, no, I'm gonna come back a little bit because the whole thing with the coat, Marshall was doing too much. I'm like, baby, this my outfit, okay? If my titty's gonna be out, my arm's gonna be out, it could be 1 degree outside, honey. We're gonna get this fit off. But you trying to put your little raggedy coat on me, like, why did you already knew that y'all were mad at each other, so why would you keep annoying her in that way? It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand like the mindset of like, oh, if my partner is cold, like let me offer my jacket or, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I did that yesterday, like with my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, you're cold. Like, would you like, like I had another button down shirt. Would you like that? She said no. I was like, all right, cool. But he was like forcing, and he's like, no, take this jacket, take this coat. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, you clearly came in separately. You don't have an amicable relationship right now. How are you going to assume that she's just gonna flip a switch? And then I think it was, oh wait, no, I can't get ahead of myself here. Never mind, Sharona, stop me now.
I agree that I think it was like an asserting dominance, like, you're coming into this space. We're seeing some people that we haven't seen that, aren't one of these couples that haven't been here in a while. Josh is there. They had a little, I'm sure it was him coming in being like, I'm staking my claim and I'm trying to be more, aggressive. See, isn't this what you wanted? And she already doesn't seem like she's into him anymore at this point. So then it's probably just coming off as annoying.
I personally find when men do stuff like that, I find it highly annoying when men try to assert dominance. Because I also feel, I guess I'm the type of woman where I feel like you should be like, yes, bitch, go and show them my fiance. You better look good because I know you coming home to me. Like, I feel like if my man look good, baby, go show them what I go home to every day. Like, show them, let them know. I just feel like you should be proud of your significant other and you should be secure in your relationship to know that, okay, my man could be out there in boxer briefs, but I know who he coming home to. I know he not paying y'all no mind. So that's it. It was giving Marshall's insecurity that, like, the fact that he even needed to do that. Yep. I was like, are you her daddy or her lover? Like, which one is it? Because you're giving daddy vibes and not the right type of daddy vibes.
Not the right type of daddy.
And you just read him like a book. Go ahead, Sharona. Go ahead.
I cannot stand when men do that because it's giving I'm insecure and I hate that. But let's talk about Josh and Marshall because first of all, Josh was drunk. Had to be drunk.
Too drunk.
Yeah.
Take the drinks away. Give them water.
Yes.
Every side conversation people were having, I could hear Josh yelling in the background. Okay. And that whole like interaction between Josh and Marshall, I thought they was finna fight. Cause I was just like, Josh, you're doing too much. You in personal space. You keep touching me. You keep like pushing me. I'm just like, what are we doing here? What's going on? What's happening?
Did he touch his face or did I make that up?
He was doing so much. I was so like
I don't
icked
think he
out.
touched his face. No.
Okay, I just remember that there was a lot of awkwardness.
Yeah, he put his arm around him, and then he
Oh, he did?
got really close to him and was just
Maybe
like,
that's something
"Oh,
else.
you know, we've had our stuff. You know, and I'm like, bro, you can't even keep your eyes open right now. How are you not stumbling? It's crazy.
And you acting like you're okay with what happened, but you telling everybody else that you feel like Marshall bullied you into stepping back from Jackie, and that's why they ended up together. So I just, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and you want to know what I thought was also really weird? Chelsea didn't even, all right, two things. Chelsea didn't even know he was going to be there, and also Chelsea doesn't really know him. So I'm thinking, it's your birthday party, Chelsea. How are you not like? Maybe it was a surprise, but wouldn't the people who throw the surprise, shouldn't they know like
It
who
was
to invite and who
production.
not to invite?
It was production. They chose violence because when they invited Amber, like trying to start something between Paul and Micah, that was all production trying to be messy.
But Paul was literally like, I'm not even gonna go talk to her.
He got
Yeah.
right next to his fiance. He said, "No, y'all not gonna catch
Mhm.
me up." No.
Mhm.
That's right.
So I
No,
mean, I do think Josh was drunk. Like
Yeah.
100%.
he was. I mean, but it did also look like everyone just hated Josh. It looked like all the guys were like they couldn't stand him. Like even the girls. It seemed like from the conversations that the other women were having with him in the pods, I don't think that anybody liked him. Like no
No.
one. It doesn't seem that anybody really likes Josh.
Yeah, and also the reason, like, to be honest, I think the reason he thought that maybe like he had that like chance, that one-on-one conversation with Jackie, he wasn't thinking logically. That was because he was drunk. Like, there's no way he logically thinks that when he goes in there sober, like, oh yeah, I can have a one-on-one conversation and convince her. Because what did he say? He said, if you feel confident with Marshall that you're gonna marry him, pick him. But if not, pick me. Like, pick you right now in the middle of a birthday party. Like, what does he think is gonna happen?
Yeah, look, he came to get his girl. Okay.
You know, the other thing is though that like, you know, as much as Jackie wants an aggressive, dominant, manly man, he backed off. He's the one in the pods that said, "Oh, I guess Marshall wants her, so I'm gonna just step back." Why'd you do that then? Marshall stepped up and said, "I want to be with Jackie." He could have easily been like, "Well, I want you too," and now make it on her to decide. Instead, he backed off and said, "Okay, I guess I'll let Marshall have her." So how is he more manly or masculine or dominant or whatever if he did that? Now he's going to come in and say, "Well, now I want to be with you." You should have done it then. You should have stepped up then.
That's
Right.
why I checked him. Like when she was like, "Well, why didn't you weren't saying that you weren't talking about emotions, feelings, nothing in the past? So why are we doing all of this now? Like, what was the point?" Or do you think he was drunk because he needed the liquid courage to tell Jackie how he felt? Like, do you feel
We
like
all got that liquid courage this season? Say a lot of things.
Yeah, I find it really, really weird that Josh like was kind of putting himself in the middle of conversations, like especially with the women. They were having their own conversations in their circle, and he would just like walk up and be like, "What are we getting into? What are we getting into?" It's like, no one, you clearly are not a part of this conversation. So he was bouncing back and forth through the room, and I think he just was trying to find his place, and his place was clearly not in that party.
it looked like Jackie didn't want to talk to him because she was kind of looking at him like when he came and sat next to her. I said, "No, sir. Okay, you sat down. Then you finna go sit next to her? Like, what? Why are you choosing violence in this way?" And then I was kind of looking at Jackie like, "Why are you entertaining this for so long?" Too, because I just felt like they were entertaining it. She entertained it way longer than I would have. I'd have been like, "Hey, I'm here with my fiance. I'm getting married in 2 weeks. Like, I appreciate you, like, you know, stating how you feel, but I'm with the man who decided to fight for me." Because Marshall did fight for her. And I think that's what, like, he was like, "I'm finna get my girl."
But she's mad at Marshall right now. So maybe she's like, "Hey, I'll listen. I don't know. I'm not going to like stroke his ego, but I'll listen and maybe I'll think about it."
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that comment, Sharonda. If I didn't have subtitles on, I wouldn't have understood a single thing he said.
I'm just saying. I don't know, but I did feel like all the couples like probably went home and talked about Bliss and Zach after this. Like, what are they doing together? I wish we could have got like couple reactions. But I don't know what's gonna happen. It doesn't seem good. We saw in the previews that she's meeting with Josh. I just don't even know what I was meaning about at this point, but I don't know what's gonna happen. What are your what are your predictions? Like at this point, after episodes 6 through 8, go through the couples. Who do you think is getting married, and who do you think is saying no?
Okay. I like this, Shauna, because I actually did this in my video too. I'm like, you know what? Let me just predict who I think, because I'm gonna be wrong. I think I'm gonna be wrong on a few of these. But Kwame and Chelsea, I said it before, Shauna, right? They're not even gonna make it to the altar. I don't even think they're gonna make it to the altar. He's gonna call it off beforehand. Paul and Micah will get there, and it's gonna be Paul that says no. Okay. I think, because he's not willing to compromise in terms of the living situation. It's very hung up on that. Jackie and Marshall, I think that's another one where they get to the altar and Jackie says no. I think Marshall will still say yes. I mean, that's just the kind of guy so far that I think he is. Brett and Tiffany will say yes 100%, and they will be good to go. Lauren and Cameron, Brett and Tiffany, they're going to be like our power couples for Love is Blind. And then Zach and Bliss. And Zach and Bliss, Bliss will say, no, it's okay, Sean. No, it's okay. No, Zach and Bliss will say, I think Zach will say yes first, and then they're going to do that long dramatic thing, and then Bliss is going to say no.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I mean, Tiffany and Brett, I think, like we said, they're power couple. I think they're going to say yes. Bliss and Zach, I'm going back and forth of like, you know, are they really here to just be on TV or not? I don't know. So I'm going to go with they're gonna say yes because they're committed to being on TV. Then Chelsea and Kwame, I think he's gonna say no because his parents, you know, his mom's not into it. So I think he'll go along with, you know, his family. So I think he's gonna say no. Jackie and Marshall, based off all the drama they're having, I don't even think they're gonna make it to the altar. And who else is there? I don't know. Oh, Micah and Paul, they keep showing that one promo where she's like, you go first, right? Like they keep showing that promo and all the, so I think that, I think you're right. I think he's going to say no because maybe it'll be one of those, like, you go first because, and it's going to get in his head and maybe he'll just say no because of that. Cause he thinks she's going to say no. That's what I
agree with that. If anyone told me you go first, I'm definitely saying no. So I'm definitely going to say that Paul says no. Kwame, hell no, because he's being held hostage. So I don't. He's gonna want to do that. Brett and Tiffany, yes, please, and give us the spinoff we deserve with the 3 couples that are still together from Love Is Blind. And I think that Jackie and Marshall, nah. Who else is left? Oh, Bliss.
Bliss.
That girl whipped. She gonna say yeah. Zach gonna say yeah. Like,
you think she'll say yes? I don't know, y'all.
She's whipped. Okay, she's whipped. So I think she's gonna say yes. I don't think but I think she's gonna say yes. So yeah. So yeah, this was fun.
This was fun.
It was.
I feel like we should do this again. Hopefully, y'all are available, and we can get Chris from Takes Take on here, and then like I'm excited. So do we just have 2 weeks left? 6 through 8.
Yeah, it's 9 to 11, and then 12. I think is the final week.
Okay, I'm excited. Oh dang! I think I'm
gonna whatever reunion they do, that'll be exciting to see.
True, Kristen, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Where is everyone now?
But look, I appreciate everybody for like tuning in and hanging out with us today. Thank you for all of the super chats. Thank you for super chats and singing fun. James and Kristen, I just want to thank you both so much for like joining me today. This really made my day. I was so happy I finally got to collab with you all, and hopefully I can collab with you again next week. But I hope that everybody has enjoyed this live stream. If you want us to do it again, let us know. We can do it at the same time. Hopefully our schedules work. But I hope that everybody has a great rest of their weekend. And as always, I love you guys 3000. Oh, wait, real James and actually, why do I be calling y'all by y'all screen names? James and Kristen, tell us where we can find you. Let me get my whole life together. Jesus. Go ahead.
Kristen, you go first.
Okay, so yeah, Kristen Maldonado. You can follow me at Kaymaldo, Kaymaldo. I make videos on YouTube, and I post everywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So if you want to, talk more movies and TV shows, come check it out.
Love that. And for me, before I even plug my channel, I just want to say it's been an honor to be on this live stream with you both. I love both of your voices in this space. I just feel like you have a lot of great things to say, and there's an impact that you both deliver that's so unique to both of you and your personalities. So thank you so much for speaking up. And I think it's just so great to see every week. Seeing your guys' content just makes me so happy. So for me, you can find me on YouTube just by searching Real James. That's REEL James. And I'm everywhere on social at It's Real James. And I love talking about TV shows, movies. Like Sharonda said, I'm a big fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I know the live action series is coming soon, so I'm super excited to talk about that. And yeah, we got a busy April of movies, so a lot of reviews on the way.
Well, make sure you look in the description section. I've linked James and Kristen's YouTube channels. I hope that you guys give them a subscribe. Go find them on social. But I hope that everybody has a great rest of their Saturday and a great rest of their weekend. And we will chat with all of you next week. Bye.
Thank you.